selling the states in a room that is all high stakes. We're talking about President Donald Trump's remote address to arguably some of the most powerful money movers and shakers on the global stage. We've got this video to our monitors that shows what Trump had to say to those global leaders at the World Economic Forum. You know, our conversation about Trump's tariffs and other money issues continues today on CBS News 24/7. But also we're hearing Donald Trump selling his very aggressive anti-immigration stance on the world stage to these money movers. Here's what he had to say about that.
I'm also taking swift action to stop the invasion at our southern border. They allowed people to come in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It was ridiculous. I decided and declared to do, and very, very importantly, a national emergency on our border, immediately halted all entry of illegal border crossers, of which there were many, and began promptly returning the illegal trespassers back to the place from which they came. That action, as you've probably seen, has already started very strongly. I've deployed active duty U.S. military and National Guard troops to the border to assist in repelling the invasion. It was really an invasion. We will not allow our territory to be violated.
So all of that is said and broadcast to viewers all over the world as multiple U.S. states and even some U.S. cities tell President Donald Trump, we will see you in court. This is the fight over something called birthright citizenship. It's going to happen in about 15 minutes inside a Seattle federal courtroom, and we are watching that closely. So here's what we're teeing up there. Attorneys arguing that Donald Trump's executive order, where it comes to birthright citizenship, violates the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. This push to end that citizenship status also getting support from Congress as House Republicans introduce a bill to back that ban, so deepening the strengthening of this push by the president. And all of that's happening as the Trump administration continues to work to stop immigration at the border and deporting people already here. So let's go live to CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. You're watching these developments from Washington in real time. My friend, so as we see Trump talk about those anti-immigration policies on the world economic stage through that forum, and you see these DOJ moves and the moves in Congress, you've got your hands on an internal memo that really spells out the marching orders and how all of this could play out. Tell us about that.
Well, this Customs and Border Protection memo that we obtained here at CBS News Read shows that border officials along the U.S.-Canada border and along the U.S.-Mexico border, as well as coastal sectors like Florida, have been instructed to comply with President Trump's new directives on asylum and to basically summarily and swiftly deport migrants who are crossing into the country illegally without affording them the right to request asylum. That traditionally has been a right enshrined in U.S. domestic and international refugee law, but now President Trump, citing sweeping presidential and constitutional powers, has revoked and suspended that obligation that the U.S. has had, and most migrants are now allowed to be returned to Mexico or to their home countries very quickly after they are encountered along the U.S.-Mexico border, again, importantly, without any sort of immigration court hearing or asylum screening. That is really important to note. We also know that this memo spells out other plans by the Trump administration to really ramp up that immigration crackdown that they are planning. That includes sending as many as 10,000 soldiers to the U.S.-Mexico border to help Customs and Border Protection build border barriers and also to provide other operational assistance. We just heard the White House announce that 1,500 Army soldiers and Marines will be deployed to El Paso and San Diego sectors to help CBP. But as this memo spells out, that number could very well increase. Lastly, it is really important to note, Reed, that while these soldiers are being deployed to the border, long-standing federal law generally prohibits them from engaging in civilian law enforcement work. What does that mean? They generally cannot arrest or otherwise process migrants who are crossing into the U.S.
So many things to keep track of as we await that hearing in that Seattle federal courtroom on the challenge to Donald Trump's challenge to birthright citizenship. Camilo, thank you so much. We know we can come to you at any time in this broadcast as soon as developments happen.